Leaf. Once upon a time, in a small, peaceful forest, there lived a young leaf named Lila. Lila was part of a tall, proud tree, her branches reaching far into the sky. As the seasons changed, her tree grew taller, stronger, and more magnificent, while Lila, the small leaf, tried her best to keep up with the others. She often looked up at the high branches and felt small, unsure, and left behind. One day, the wind began to blow harder than usual. The mighty tree swayed in the breeze, and Lila clung to her branch, doing her best to stay attached. But the wind was strong, and suddenly, with a gust of force, Lila was torn from her branch and sent tumbling through the air. She fell, fluttering down to the forest floor. As she landed, she felt a deep sadness. I was supposed to be strong, I was supposed to grow taller, but now I'm here, fallen, forgotten, she whispered to herself. A little rabbit named Theo, who hopped around, curious and friendly. He noticed the fallen leaf and hopped over to it. "Why do you look so sad?" Theo asked, his bright eyes full of concern. "I've been torn from my tree. I was once high up. I had purpose and beauty, but now I feel useless," Lila replied with a soft sigh. Theo shook his little head. No, don't say that. You're just where you're meant to be right now. You might not see it, but you're part of the bigger picture." Lila was puzzled. "But how? I'm so far from the sky now. What use am I here, on the ground?" Theo thought for a moment and then pointed with his paw to a small flower growing nearby. "Look at that flower. Do you see how it's blooming beautifully, even though it's so close to the ground? It might not touch the sky, but it brings color and joy to everyone who passes by." Lila gazed at the flower, and for the first time, she noticed how its petals glistened in the sunlight, how it swayed gently in the breeze, bringing a smile to the creatures who wandered by. "You see," Theo continued, "sometimes when we feel we've fallen or been left behind, it's just because we're meant to grow in a different way, rather than where everyone is passing. Maybe you'll become the soft blanket that the creatures of the forest rest on, or maybe you'll nourish the soil for new plants to grow." Lila thought about this. The wind still whispered through the trees above, but now it didn't seem so far away. She realized that even though she was no longer part of the mighty tree, she was still a part of the forest. She was still important. Days passed, and Lila's bright green color faded to gold and amber. She transformed, and with every passing moment, she understood more deeply what Theo meant. She wasn't left behind. She was part of something much bigger. Her life wasn't about how high she had grown, but about the journey she had taken and the beauty she brought wherever she went. One morning, a gentle rain fell, and Lila found herself lying on the soft earth, where tiny new plants began to sprout around her. She was becoming part of something new. The ground she rested upon was no longer something to be sad about. It was her new home, where she would help new life grow. Above her, Theo hopped around, and the other animals of the forest continued their busy lives. But now, Lila no longer felt small or left behind. She had found her place in the grand circle of life. And just like that, she learned an important lesson that sometimes you have to fall in order to rise in a way that no one else can. The journey may look different, but it is still your journey, and it still matters. So, if ever you feel like you're falling behind, remember Lila. Even when the wind feels harsh, even when you feel small or lost, you are exactly where you need to be. Keep going, keep growing, and know that your journey matters just as much as the ones who seem ahead of you. And one day, when the time is right, you'll see that everything you've experienced was part of making you stronger and more beautiful than you ever imagined.